Hello everybody and welcome into the NSRA Sunday Night Select Series live from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. And if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here watching Austin Green on Ghost Racing Network. Drivers getting ready to roll off from pit road. So let's head right down trackside and get started tonight with your race info. Again, we're at Talladega last week, back here at Daytona and in the trucks for the first time in a week here. And weather outside to start us off tonight is going to be 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 2% humidity, partly cloudy skies with winds at 2 miles an hour. It's the Mann Outdoor 200 presented by Mark Mann. We are, again, as noted in the truck series, 80 laps per usual with 50% fuel. Everybody's going to have unlimited tires, 2 fast repairs, fixed setups, and there will be 2 green-white checkers if we need them. 72 degrees starting track temp around this 2.5-mile high bank super speedway. And moving on right into your starting grid here, the man on the pole tonight is going to be Tom Dixon in the 411. First time making his appearance, but I've seen Tom around the super speedway community, and he is a guy that knows how to get it done. Watch for the 411 to be strong here tonight. Cody Nagel's always a favorite. He will start on the outside in second. It's going to be John Guerra back in third with Vicente Guerrero starting to the outside of him in fourth. Les Levy and Dawson Wise making up row number 3 with Dana Osborne and Adam Kilday rounding out row number 4. Dusty Burkhart will start back in ninth, and it's going to be Bubba Winningham rounding out your top 10. Donald Sadusky will start 11th with Joe David starting in 12th. Alex Giffen to his outside in 13th. Robert Jordan in 14th. Nick Biddy in 15th with Alex Green to his outside in 16th. David Overstreet and Anthony Williams making up row number 9, and it's going to be Dean Viney alongside Brian Kaufman rounding out your top 20. Robert Morrison back in 21st alongside one of the rookies, Michael Triscaro in 22nd. Rick Sebreens in 23rd with Mark Mann in 24th. Larry Dickerson back in 25th with Ricky Wentworth back in 26th. And rounding out the field tonight, it's going to be Len McNeese in 27th. And to his outside in 28th, George Rincon, who looks like right now is actually not currently being scored in the field. So we'll see if, not sure if he just had a missed start or what the deal is. But starting to slowly wind down on the end of the regular season. Playoffs starting to approach. And it's kind of that time where desperation is starting to slowly set in for some of these guys. Tonight's going to be a great chance to not have to worry about it and see if you can get through easy with a win here at Daytona. Green flag is in the air. We're racing. First lap at Daytona is going to go to Vicente Guerrero on the outside line, getting a push from Dawson Wise. Well, I'll tell you what, it certainly did not take Cody Nagels long to find his way to the inside, jumped right in front of that 411 truck, and now that puts Vicente Guerrero and Dawson Wise in prime position on the outside. Now, Tom Dixon here again, first start here tonight. You got to think he's going to maybe be just a little bit more conservative. I think he's probably pretty comfortable pushing Cody Nagels. Cody, one of the guys that you can push pretty much as hard as you want, just about anywhere. And you know he's going to be able to continue to wheel the truck. Behind both of these guys, though, is John Guerra. Been having a strong season, looking to make a playoff berth. Still looking for that first win on the season. We'll see if tonight could be the night. Bubba Winningham, the furthest guy up already inside your top 5, has made up 3 spots. And right now, the driver of the 66, we've been seeing him run, you know, I don't want to say so much run closer to the front, more or less. We've seen him at the front plenty this season, but it's almost like the strategy is flipping around now that he's trying to stay at the front the entire race instead of maybe playing it safe a little bit earlier on and then getting aggressive as the race goes. And he is one of the guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. There's a look at the driver, number 66, staying nice and focused early. Just behind him, last week's winner, Dana Osborne. A thriller of a finish at Talladega. Dana found himself out in front and got the job done, so we'll get to see him in the playoffs later this season. He's looking to see if he can maybe go back-to-back here tonight. Dusty Burkhart, currently the last truck inside the top 10. As we go back up front, actually, we'll go to the back a little bit first. Separation already starting to begin here. The pack's starting to split up a little bit. We We got a lot of guys sitting on this outside that are all going to funnel down to the inside, is just kind of getting a feel for everything, maybe feeling like it's a little bit too aggressive up front. Haven't seen any 3 wide yet, though. Everybody's staying 2x2. It's going to be a little bit tighter here at Daytona than it was last week at Talladega. But we are back in the trucks, with which you look at a lot of these guys, Michael Triscaro, Cody Nagels, even further towards the back. Everybody loves the trucks. Most of the guys that are here like them more than the Xfinity cars because you can push harder, and it's a little bit easier to drive sometimes. But here with the cool track temp, I think this is going to come down to just a good old-fashioned drag race to the start-finish line at the end of this race on who can push their line the hardest. You see Adam Kilday currently on the outside. He is now at 4 from where he started in that 85 truck. And he is now the lead pusher of Dawson Wise, as Cody Nagels was able to drop down to the inside line, where he now pushes Vicente Guerrero in the 14. I wanted to say his teammates. Again, we know teams aren't so much declared, but I can tell you for sure these two working together tonight. They work together in OP, and Dawson Wise, another one on their team, as you see Vicente jump up. And that's another major note that we're going to see tonight in the trucks. A lot more controlling lanes than you can do in the Xfinity cars, and you can do it, and you're going to have to do it. Guys in certain lines, doesn't matter how cool the track temp is, you're going to get hot eventually if you're pushing a guy hard enough. So Vicente Guerrero, his goal here is just to try to continue to jump top to bottom as each lane starts to get hot on temps. And the more he does that, the easier it's going to be for his teammates to cycle and keep him at the front, at least until we get to this first pit stop in a couple laps. And a couple laps, probably looking at, I would say, around lap 20. So I would say a little bit longer than I said there than just a couple laps. But looking at the back view here, for Cody Nagels, the rear chase cam, how about the scheme he's got here tonight? Not the best view from there. We'll see if we can get a better view of it from the back. But October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I've seen it in a couple different leagues that I've been broadcasting. Guys supporting the cause with different schemes. And Cody Nagels has potentially my favorite looking truck of the month so far. Take a look at this thing from the rear chase, or the far chase cam rather, the back of it. And it is just a really good looking pink black. And it looks like got a little bit of white in their truck. As there's a view from the chase cam. Martin Sports, and he's got a Ghost Racing Network logo thrown on there as well. Going a row back, taking a view on board with Tom Dixon, doing a nice job here early. Keeping Cody Nagels out in front too. Again, a little bit of a hard task to do, especially when it's your first race in a series. You don't know how different guys work, but he is not letting Vicente Guerrero get back clear of Cody Nagels, and it's helping him maintain track position now, but at a certain point, you got to think the temps are starting to get hot for that 411 truck. We'll see if he ever has to end up backing off here. Dana Osborne and Dusty Burkhart still sitting back right in the middle of this pack. Donald Sadusky saw a lot of aggression out of him last week. Looking to see more of the same this week as, oh man, the 66 of Bubba Winningham. Close moment as he washed up the banking out of 4. Thought there was going to be some contact, but he's able to save it and continue on. And there is Michael Triscaro currently in 16th position on the inside line. And everybody that we talked about is sitting in the back of the pack. By the way, George Rincon, must have had some issues because he did not start the race, and he has still not made his way out on track as we are just about 10 laps in. Len McNeese, currently the last truck on track, back in 27th. Him, Larry Dickerson, Rick Sebring, Mark Mann, Robert Jordan, Ricky Wentworth even. All guys that are sitting at the back right now just playing it safe. And there is the view for Ricky. That 33 truck had his first race last week, showed a couple signs of speed. Had a little bit of bad luck, though, with it. Had to retire from the race early. But he's one of the rookies looking to make some noise here tonight. And I don't know if it's possible for him to still make the playoffs with the limited starts that he's had this season. But if it is a win and you're in kind of scenario, which, again, I'm not 100% sure on it, then he would certainly have a chance. And you can always look to try to make some momentum and carry it into the next season. Going a little bit further ahead, Nick Biddy, another one of the new drivers in the field tonight. Currently sitting on the outside line in the 32, making his first start. And I think Daytona is a good place to do it, too. These guys are going to get a lot of experience tonight as we're going to see the first truck split out 3 wide, and is going to be last week's winner, the 8 of Dana Osborne. Doesn't look like he's going to get any help, at least not yet. Is going to have to find somewhere to tuck back in line. Now it looks like we're going to get our first taker of the night, and it's going to come right in the form of Donald Sadusky. As they're working their way out of turn 4, you see Cody Nagels jump to the top. I think he sees this third lane coming, and they are setting themselves up so that that third lane cannot generate enough momentum to get by. And as only 2 trucks continue to remain on that outside line, they're going to need help from at least one more, probably a couple. And you see further back, starting with the 66 of Bubba Winningham. He's really, really far back right now. Maybe a little tough for him to catch up to the draft of Adam Kilday, but if he is able to get there, he's going to have a huge run. And that run might be enough for the 8 of Dana Osborne and Donald Sadusky to push clear of that middle line. Cody Nagels, as he does continue to ride in the middle, by the way, you see Tom Dixon starting to fall. The 88 of John Guerra locked to his bumper, but the 62 of Les Levy falling really far behind right here. Inside's going to make another surge as they get down into turn number 3, which, again, we talked about the track temp was cool to start the race. Already into nighttime, so you know that track temp probably is going to cool even that much more. Yeah, now down to 72. And so these guys having no problems. Let's take a look at the speeds that we're going to see here. 11 laps in. Cody Nagels in the middle getting a big push. He's going to hit just under 190 miles an hour as they enter turn number 1. As the race goes on, as we always say, you're going to see those speeds pick up as guys start pushing more aggressively. There's more on the line. Trucks, we talked about a lot of things tonight that's different than the Xfinity Series. Another thing that's going to be different is the pit strategy. I think you're not going to see guys maybe try to split off as early and maybe cut the window as early. We know that they can go about 20 laps in the Xfinity cars, but I was sitting here thinking a little bit more. The trucks take a little bit less fuel, so these guys are probably going to come about 2 laps short. So I think it's going to be important that you make sure you save some staying in the pack. If you can find a way to make it 20 laps, then you would be in really, really good position, as you would have enough to make it in what looks like it would be 3 stops, I believe. Yeah, sure enough, that'd be 4 stints on fuel at 20 laps, gives you 80. Here's the 43 of Robert Morrison rocking looks like an Eric Jones throwback paint scheme here tonight. Robert, one of the super speedway specialists in the series. We see him over in the Noma Truck Series. Anytime we go to the super speedways, that's where you see the 43 excel. Just in front of him, actually to the side of him rather, is Anthony Williams, and just in front of him is Joe Divide. And Divide's having a good run so far here, driver out of Oldsmar. First race, and he is trying to get a little bit of a feel for these guys. That's a good-looking paint scheme on the 2 truck as well. As we take a look back up front, Dana Osborne still leading on the inside, so that 3rd lane finally able to generate enough momentum to get the 8 clear. Donald Sadusky and Adam Kilday now the 2 lead trucks on the outside with Les Levy just behind, but the outside continuing to just struggle in terms of getting formed up. I think that has to be something to do with guys trying to save fuel. But now you're starting to see a couple slowly shuffle their way down to the bottom. Usually a good indication that we're going to see pit stops. Ooh, we got some contact. 1 truck around. It's Dana Osborne as he gets heavy damage into the outside wall before backing it back down into traffic. Did not get a good view of that initial incident. But there's the 8 of Dana Osborne still spinning in the background. Brian Kaufman, I believe, got some damage out of this as well. But Dana definitely by far got the worst of it. All 4 corners of that truck heavily destroyed. Smoke out the back. This will be one of his 2 fast repairs early. 13 laps in, and it comes from the lead. Let's go back and take a look at exactly what happens right here. This is coming off of turn number 2. And wow. Oh, watch this hit for Dana Osborne. Boom. Just destroys the front end of that 8 truck. That was a hard hit. I'm going to take another hit into the outside here as you see everybody else trying to miss it. There's Tom Dixon jump to the outside and then backs it down into traffic right here. And that's where we're going to see the 10 of Anthony Williams, it looks like, get collected. No, that's the 32 rather. That might have been the 10 truck. That's the 32 of Nick Biddy. And now Osborne's still sliding sideways. He's going to back this up into the wall again. Just finally puts his foot on the brake right there. Maybe caused himself a little more damage than he was initially going to have, but it was certainly a wreck that was going to destroy the truck either way. You could tell right off the get-go, but didn't get a great view of it there. Let's see if the spotter view shows us anything different here. Ooh, I'm thinking there's going to be a little bit of right rear net code involved in this one. As you saw Cody push on the back bumper again. In the trucks, you can get away with a lot more pushing through the turns as long as you're pretty squared up. And as we look, back this up into the corner a little bit further, it looks like Cody's pretty square. Cody maybe starts to get him a little bit offset on exit. And we'll play it slow for you here. It looks like I said, maybe just slightly starts to get offset. But then once Dana drifts up, yeah, there's definitely some right rear net code between him and Donald Sadusky, it looks like. And that sends the 8 up hard into the wall. I don't know how Adam Kilday managed to miss that, or the rest of the field for that matter. Tom Dixon doing a great job at missing this. And then, man, just started to go for the 32. That was the big hit. And then even the 10 of Anthony Williams does a pretty good job checking up and missing this incident. Take a couple different looks at it here. we'll take a view. This is with Anthony Williams in the 10 truck, and you'll see what he's going to have to dodge here. He's a spinning 8 truck, and then an 8 truck that's a pretty odd looking view. I had to wonder what was going through his head right at that moment. But then I want to take a view here on the onboard cam, actually the nose cam rather, for Adam Kilday through this, as it finds himself in the back. I don't believe he got any damage from this. But watch how close this was for the 85. Again, I don't know how he misses this. Oh my goodness, maybe just ever so slight damage somewhere along the right front or right side of that truck. But overall, could have been a lot worse. And bam, there's that big hit for Dana Osborne into the outside wall. And it looks like Joe Divide, not sure, this was after the fact. Not sure if he got any extra damage or what happened here. This is under caution. And oh man. Checking up, and Robert Morrison did not get the memo. And he slams it to the back of the 2 truck. That sends Joe around. It's going to give him some pretty heavy damage in the rear end. That could also potentially be a fast pair worthy. That was a hard hit. Let's go to Robert Morrison and take a ride on board. I know sometimes these guys are making adjustments, and they might not know that the pace car is coming up shortly. That's why you hear a lot of guys call it out. And let's see, did he ever even realize? He does late. I'm thinking Robert looked down maybe to try to adjust something in his black box. And when he looked up, the 2 truck had pulled up a lane and had slowed down significantly and just could not bring it to a stop in time. So as we go back up front, looking to see if we're going to get the 1 to go signal this time. Certainly looks like, yep, sure enough. Lights on the pace car are off. So it's going to be Cody Nagels and Vicente Guerrero lining up in row number 1. Tom Dixon and Les Levy in row number 2. Going on back to 5th, it's going to be Dawson Wise. He'll have John Garrett to his outside in 6th. Dusty Burkhardt back in 7th with Nick Biddy in 8th. Joe Divide back in 9th. And Robert Morrison rounding out your top 10. So both of those guys still able to maintain position. It certainly looked like really hard contact, but I'm not sure that Joe necessarily did use a faster pair on it. And the reason that's a little bit interesting, I was trying to see for sure. I'm not sure on whether or not he used his fast pair. You would certainly hope he didn't have to. But at the same time, everybody does have 2. So if it's damage that's going to affect your pace, I feel like you got to use at least one of them. You don't want to have to ride around in the back of this pack for the entire race. And interestingly enough, as I talk about that strategy, one of the guys that we know that likes that strategy is the sponsor of tonight's race, Mark Mann and the 04 machine. We see it when we're over in the Xfinity cars, and we see it when we're here in the trucks. He'll just kind of sit towards the back and ride, make sure that he sticks with everybody's pit strategies, which knows how to execute very well on the pit lane. But then as soon as it comes down to the end of the race, that's where you see him really start to excel as he makes his way to the front, working with guys, either a couple, I don't want to call them teammates, but maybe some good friends that he makes throughout the race. But he has had some bad luck a couple different times this season with getting to the front and then getting wrecked. That's why some of these guys maybe try to control it the entire race, but we'll see which strategy is going to be the winning one here tonight. Les Levy, highest he's been all night, as he is currently up 2 positions, now 1 from where he started, as Tom Dixon will be starting on his inside. But Tom Dixon did such a great job of pushing Cody Nagels that first run, and anybody that he had in front of him that, I don't know if we'll see Cody jump up here. I got to think he would. Maybe try to pull either Vicente Guerrero with him to drop down. But I think they like the idea of trying to control these 2 lanes, and if Cody can make sure that 411 keeps pretty cool temps, I think that bottom's going to continue to roll. Green flag is back in the air. 17 laps complete at Daytona. Everybody going to get through the gears and get back up to speed 2 by 2. I think that caution came out just a couple, I would say actually just a handful of laps before we're going to see that first pit stop. And now I think you got to look a little bit further ahead, maybe till around lap 30, I'm thinking around lap 34 to 38. So maybe when we are going to see that next pit stop. Vicente Guerrero getting a big push down the back straightaway, though, from Les Levy. Is it going to be enough to get him clear of the 6? Doesn't look like it as they go into turn 3 to 14. You had to wonder, was he going to take it? But Les Levy gave him all he had. Just was not quite enough. And it's so hard to do here. If you can't get it done on the first lap, you got to try to settle down, regroup, and try it again. As we speak of guys that have had driver cams for us here tonight, Cody Nagels, I think he's maybe in the most stressful position right now, but take a look at the driver cam. He likes to be in the front. He's used to it. He's feeling pretty confident right now as Vicente Guerrero does get clear in 1, and sure enough, he is going to drop down off the front bumper of Les Levy. Les looking for a little bit of a side draft off the 6 of Cody Nagels. Cody will go to work now on the back bumper of Vicente Guerrero. Moving on back in 6, Dawson Wise fell a couple positions after that caution He's one of the guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. There's a look at one of our fellow broadcasters, Dawson, holding a nice steady wheel. And tell you what, similar in broadcasting, similar to Sinsev, looks like he's just got a pretty basic Logitech wheel, and I'm assuming a single monitor setup. And it shows you that you don't need too much as he's still out here having a great run. Going to see that third lane start to get formed up now, as it looks like it is the rookie, Michael Triscaro, who took a peek to the outside. Looks like he's going to think better of it as he drops back down. You can tell a couple guys starting to get antsy. They want to make their way to the front. And that third lane, while we talked about Daytona, maybe is a little bit more narrow in terms of track width. You can still very easily, make that third line work if you can hold a steady wheel and get the right pushers behind you. But it looks like Michael Triscaro is going to just miss the boat, as Dana Osborne is now going to be the one to split that 34 truck up top. He's going to get some help right now from the 32 machine. Continue to go forward, and actually was looking exactly for who that was. Dana Osborne, I believe that's going to be Alex Giffen. Sure enough, it is. Man, the 66 of Bubba Winningham with a big moment right there. He's going to crack a little smile over that one. He knew how close it was. What a save from the 66s. They are really going to work now. 3, almost 4 wide. That was a close call for the 32. Almost made some contact down into the door. Now it's not going to work. We got one truck turned around. It is going to be the 32 on the outside. Osborne's in it. Everybody now trying to miss it as Guerra slides down. And multiple guys now going to slide in as the 74 of Robert Jordan with nowhere to go. You saw the 32 of Nick Biddy was one of the trucks involved. The 2 of Joe Divide is destroyed. And you really got to hope the 2 truck now didn't have to use a fast pair in that last incident, because certainly going to have to use one this time around. Well, they were 3 wide, and it just started to look a little bit unnatural. It looked like some guys, I don't think they were actually planning on going 4 wide, but just didn't look like everybody was all that comfortable, at least up front, with the 3 wide. We'll see if that was kind of the thing that initially sparked it here, if it was something different. So as we take a look first from the spotter view, look towards the middle of your screen there, John Guerra in the 88. Is this going to start with him, or does it start a little bit further out back? Ooh, whoever was running second in the outside line. Actually, no, it is going to be Guerra creeping down here a little bit. And once he does, can't tell from that view, it might be a little bit of net code between him and Dawson Wise. And that's going to turn the 98 truck up the track. And he will T-bone the 32. It's going to send him back down, and now the wreck's on. Everybody's just going to try to pick a lane and hope that they miss it here. Let's look at all the trucks that get involved in this one. Everybody trying to slow down to miss it. 66 of Bubba Winningham got stopped in the middle of the track. Nowhere a lot of people could go trying to miss him. And then I think you had just about every lane clogged at about some point through that wreck. Let's go back and take a couple different angles of it here. I think there may have been a little bit of net code right there for John Guerra. John, usually one of the guys that we see, likes to be aggressive with no issues, so certainly would find it a little hard to believe here that he just makes a mental error. Yeah, it certainly looks like there is some net code again. I know you might get tired of hearing me say it, but I mean, we don't want to call somebody at fault when that's not the case. And from all the data and everything that we can see up here, just one of those faults that iRacing still has. Thinks that they're going to make a little bit of contact, and, you know, maybe sometimes they are. It's hard to say there. It seemed like John Guerra was starting to straighten it out, but he was still slightly moving down. But it did look like a little net code, and either way, that's what turned Dawson Wise around and ultimately caused this probably about 6 or 7 truck pileup. Donald Sadusky, wow, what a close call he had through that one. So we take a look now from the TV static cam. Boy, was it ever a close call right there for Donald Sadusky. Trying to figure out if the 32 of Alex Giffen, I believe he did get some damage in this one, but couldn't tell initially. Let's ride on board and see what he saw in this one. Yeah, certainly does. He actually props up the 8 of Dana Osborne, who didn't really notice initially, but that's a bad break for Dana, as he had to take a fast spare through that first incident. Now he's going to have to take his second one, and with only one remaining, he may have to change up the approach on how he goes about the rest of this race. You certainly don't want to have a damaged truck for the finish. But up front, it is Les Levy now leading the way. Everybody going to come in on top off on fuel. And now this makes things a little interesting. Now it could potentially come down to a 2-stop from here. Actually, I don't think they're quite going to be good for that. Next pit stop would be expected right around lap 40. But then after that, I don't think they're going to be able to make it to 60, and therefore won't be able to make it to 80, but we'll have to find out. So Les Levy and Tom Dixon going to be making up row 1. Donald Sadusky back in 3rd, with Joe Divide in 4th, Robert Morrison 5th. Dusty Burkhart back in 6th. Brian Kaufman 7th. Anthony Williams in 8th. Cody Nagels 9th. And Alex Green rounding out your top 10. Looks like Kevin Nagels in the chat says, let's go Cody and Vicente. And on that note, we are going to take a quick break just before we get ready to reclaim the green flag here at the World Center of Racing. Les Levy leading at Daytona, 22 laps in. Stick with us. Back live, getting ready for the restart here. Green flag is back in the air. 23 of 80 laps complete at Daytona. It'll be 24 as we cross the line. Good jump for Les Levy in the 62 machine. He's getting a great push right off the get-go from Donald Sadusky in the 19. Everybody going to be fighting for whatever real estate they can get right here on the restart. Things have been getting locked up, and so far from what we've seen here tonight, the third lane has been effective, but it's been very risky. Both times we saw it get Dana Osborne further towards the front. In the first case, get him to the lead. But it also led to both accidents that we have seen so far here tonight. Actually, I take that back. Led to the second accident, but it certainly led to some close calls throughout the night. Alex Green starting to make some noise. The 3 truck currently sitting 4th on the outside line. One of the rookies here in 8th. He's got a rookie just behind him, Michael Trasquero. One thing that we have seen about the rookie field this season, they tend to be very aggressive. Alex Green has been a heck of a pusher so far throughout the season, so I would not be too surprised to see him try to work with Michael Trasquero and maybe both of those trucks jump up to the top. But just in front of them, the 01 of Anthony Williams, who actually I keep calling the 10 here tonight. Actually, it is the 10 of Anthony Williams, excuse me. But to his outside is the man I was trying to refer to, the 01 of Brian Kaufman. Been having a good run so far. He's been sitting right around 4th to 6th on the outside line to just about the entire race. And Dean Viney's starting to make his way up here. Boy, he had a close view through this last wreck. Didn't get to show this one over brakes. I want to show it just real quick. Here's the accident, and oh my goodness, the seas just part for Dean Viney. I don't know how he misses it, but I'll tell you what, it is certainly going to be a good thing. Blessing in disguise right there is already up front. Back to 3-wide action, the 62. Les Levy on the bottom. In the middle, it's Donald Sadusky. And here comes Robert Morrison on the top. Talked about he's one of the guys, super speedway specialists, and he's looking to make some noise here early, 25, 26 laps in. And that 43 is getting a big push from Michael Trasquero. 2 of those guys both in the same voice channel here tonight. You know, there's a little bit of chemistry going on as they've worked together before. Trasquero is fishtailing. Man, he is trying everything to push this 43 to the lead, and it just might work here as that middle line has broken up. Tom Dixon not attached to the back bumper of Donald Sadusky, and sure enough, the 43 is going to clear to the middle, and in fact, all the way down to the bottom is now Les Levy is going to have to settle for second. Dusty Burkhart back in third now is the 10 of Anthony Williams. Man, out of line goes Les Levy. Robert Morrison has to throw a massive block. That was a risky block to try to make this early, but he makes it work. And now it's going to make Donald Sadusky the odd man out as the 32 is going to stick up top with the 34. And you can tell that Les is setting him up for another move right here. He's got the position right now, but he's going to have to make it before Donald Sadusky gets enough of a run to get to the quarter panel of that 62. And down the backstretch, sure enough, there's the move. But, oh, man, Les Levy makes a little bit too big of a move. He's going to have to go all the way up to the third lane. Michael Triscaro going to give him a push with some assistance from the 32. All of a sudden, Donald Sadusky gets clear, and the amount of shuffling going on at the front right now is really out of characteristic. It looks like these guys are almost trying to wreck to a degree, and I think the rest of the field believes that, too. Look at the separation that we have through turns 3 and 4 is... I would say you only have about 8 to 10 trucks up here battling for the lead. Everybody else has checked out and is trying to see if this thing's going to calm down a little bit. Michael Triscaro is going to jump back down to the middle now right in front of the 01 of Brian Kaufman. Going to get a little bit of a push as the outside's going to start to fade with the 32 of Nick Mitty being the only man out there. The 71's going to let him in line. And for now, seems like things have calmed down as we're going to go back to a tame 2x2 for the moment. And when we talk about all the hard racing that these guys continue to produce and put out through these races, it's because the playoffs, we said it, they're starting to slowly approach. Taking a look at the schedule, I know you can't see it on your screen, but right now, believe it or not, already 10 races through the season, and we've only got, after tonight, 3 races left before the All-Star. So actually, I take it back, 2 races left before the All-Star race, and then the round of 16 getting kicked off. So everybody knows that they're going to have to start going for it. And, I mean, Daytona, Legacy Daytona, I know a lot of these guys, it's not their favorite place. But Daytona and Talladega, there's good chances. Wow, that was a lot of side drafting right there from the 01 of Brian Kaufman on the 19 of Donald Sadusky. It almost looked like Brian actually just had gotten a little bit loose. I don't think that was so much by intention. And I thought for sure there was going to be either some slight contact or maybe a little bit of netcode between the two. That was a really close call. But as we mentioned the schedule, then you look down and you look at the points. Cody Nagel still leads in points. Vicente Guerrero in second. David Overstreet third. Michael Triscaro fourth. DJ Thomas in fifth with Bubba Winningham in sixth. Len McNeese seventh. It's going to be Stevens back in eighth with Alex Giffen in ninth. Sean Stevens, excuse me. Dusty Burkhart back in 10th. Adam Kildane 11th. Les Levy in 12th with Larry Dickerson in 13th. Robert Jordan in 14th. John Garrett in 15th. And Jeremy Osborne, currently the last man above the cutoff line. He currently sits in 16th. And I meant to say Dana. I don't know if I accidentally said Jeremy right there. Dana Osborne currently just 4 to the good. And you talk about guys that are outside looking in. Robert Morrison, the first man out. That is part of the reason that he was trying to make his way to the front and fighting so hard for that position. Just behind him, Dawson Wise. Mark Mann, one of the final 4 in the championship last year. You know he's got to be a favorite again this year, but he's going to have to get himself into the round of 16 first. So I think Dawson Wise and Mark Mann are going to be the 2 biggest guys to watch. They've got the speed each and every week. A little bit of bad luck, though, has them currently outside looking in. And Robert Morrison going to have to try to find a win here if he wants to guarantee himself in, but certainly looks like there's a good chance he could point himself in as it stands. Back live on track, 31 of 80 laps now complete, and it is Donald Sadusky leading the inside. Ooh, some contact right there between him and Michael Triscaro. A little rubbins racing, right? Man, not here at Daytona. That had to make Donald Sadusky's heart skip a beat. Les Levy continues to push. Robert Morrison third on the inside. And on the outside, still a lot of push in there as well. The 01 of Brian Kaufman has been trying to get this 34 truck clear. He's going to have himself set up for a good run here down the short chute into the tribal. We'll see if it's enough this time to maybe get Michael Triscaro clear. And, man, a lot of fishtailing going on as it looked like the 16. Oh, the 34 is going to get turned around. Going for a slide through the pits is Michael Triscaro. Len McNeese is going to take a detour through the grass as well. As up front, it looks like everybody saves it. And that is going to be a tough break for the rookie, as that will not draw a caution. He should get all of his black flag penalties and whatnot cleared right here. And he'll pull it right back out of the pits as he had to get down to speed after sliding to a stop. And he's really going to need a caution now, as he's going to be in danger. We already lost the draft by quite a bit. And could be in danger of going a lap down here after this next pit cycle if we were to not receive a caution. Looked like he just got turned out of line right there. Let's take an exact look at what happens. You saw Len McNeese go through the grass as well, but what actually sparked the contact here? Taking a look from the chopper view, you saw Michael Triscaro was on the outside. Talked about a lot of pushing going on right there with Brian Kaufman trying to get Triscaro clear here. And, ooh, they're starting to get offset of each other. And, yeah, it's hard. It's so hard to tell right there if there was actual slight contact. Yeah, I think the 0-1 just hits him slightly offset. That sends Triscaro slightly down the track into Donald Sadusky. Sadusky does a brilliant job of saving this, coming back up on track without any incident. As yellow flags in the air, we'll come back to this in just a moment. Up front, we got trouble. A couple trucks in the grass. As wow, actually multiple trucks collected here. Not sure what has sparked this one, but my goodness, it's a melee on the backstretch. Everybody trying to get back on the pavement. There's the 34, Michael Triscaro. This is going to be a lucky break for him. But, I mean, the data is telling us that just about everybody was involved in this one. So it'll bring out your third caution of the night. But before we go take a look at what brings out that caution, I do want to go back and take a look, finishing the point making about the caution involving, the incident that didn't bring out the caution involving Michael Triscaro. So once he gets turned down into Donald Sadusky, Sadusky does a great job of missing it. But then Triscaro, man, I'll tell you what, nice job on Triscaro's part too, though, to lock it down. Able to get that truck spun around without hitting the inside wall, and then gets it refired up, rolls out of the grass onto the pits, gets back up to speed. But let's go take a look now at what brings out the actual yellow flag here back up front. It looks like somewhere around where Nick Biddy had been running, as he has now had to park that truck. So here's Les Levy, has the lead as they're going down the Daytona Super Stretch. And, ooh, creeping up the track just a little bit. That's going to be some more right rear net code. Les Levy just slightly moving up. They weren't all that close to each other, though. And that right rear net code hooks the 62 around into the outside wall. There's the 0-1 of Brian Kaufman with nowhere to go. And now everybody else just going to get involved as just nowhere to go for everybody. Pick a lane. You got to hope you miss it. We're going to have some slide down to the inside wall right here. And a couple hard hits down low. And then up top, everybody trying to bring their trucks to a halt. Get a couple different angles of this here. Let's look first on the cockpit. Actually, the roll bar, rather. Watch Les slightly creep up. They don't make contact. And of course, they do after the initial net code. And there's the slide down. I think the 32 may have been the truck that made hard contact on the inside wall. You see the two of Joe Divide got spun around. Some damage on the front of his truck as well. Les Levy took a pretty big shot. The 71 was able to hold on it without too much contact. 62 gets tagged by Adam Kilday. I think Vicente Guerrero may have somehow, some way sneaked his way through the majority of this wreck. And let's see if that was indeed the case for the 14 machine. Stick a ride on board here. He sees it, checks up, misses the first one, misses the second one, misses the third one. I mean, just unbelievable wreck avoidance for Vicente Guerrero. I'll tell you what, super speedway racing, it takes a lot of skill to know how to make the right moves at the right time, but an equal part of it is having the skill to miss the big wrecks because you know there's going to be plenty of them, and that was a phenomenally done job right there by Vicente Guerrero. Just as good of a job as we saw earlier in that first wreck by the 71 of Dean Viney getting through it. And so as we do go back up front, Donald Sadusky being scored as your leader with Dusty Burkhart in second. David Overstreet in third, Robert Morrison back in fourth. Alex Creed in fifth, Anthony Williams in sixth, Dean Viney in seventh, Rick Seabrains in eighth. Dana Osborne back in ninth with Mark Mann currently rounding out your top 10. There's John Garrett back in 11th, Ricky Wenworth in 12th, Les Levy 13th. And it is going to be Dawson Wise and Michael Triscaro rounding out your top 15 here tonight. All right, so getting things wrapped up here for your third caution of the night. In fact, gives us a quick chance to talk about where we head next. Tomorrow night's the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series live from Homestead Miami Speedway. It's going to be the Homestead 200 second to last race before the championship. And it is going to be a fun one. We know what we saw in real life at Homestead. You're going to see a similar thing in iRacing. Guys ripping the wall. It's going to be not the easiest thing to pass, but there will be plenty of lanes to race with. Restart's going to be key. And everybody going to be setting themselves up for Martinsville next week, which is going to be a stressful event. Back live As we get ready, looks like we did get the one to go signal here. I'll tell you what, so far tonight, we have taken out quite a bit of trucks in the wrecks that we have had. I mean, only 3 or 4 cautions. Not too bad, all things considered, but they've been pretty costly. When they've wrecked pretty big. We'll see if that trend continues. If these guys are able to clean it up just a little bit. Talked about George Rincon. Never did make an appearance out on the track here tonight, at least not yet, as there's Nick Biddy in the 32, who took a pretty big shot into the inside wall. And as everybody catches up, this is going to create a long single file line. Actually, this could potentially make fuel strategy interesting. That might be why so many guys topped off. 36 of 80 laps in. That's going to put us at about, I would say, somewhere around 44. Yeah, it's going to be exactly 44 laps to go when we get the green. So that's a solid two-stop till. A solid two-stop still. And everybody's going to have to come in when they run out of fuel to top off, and then that final stop's where it gets a little interesting. But I'm thinking the plan right here, the general plan is to break this down as 15, 15, and 14. We'll see if that's the case. If it is, and this might be the first time tonight, if we can make it 14 laps from now, that you see some of these teams, and when I say teams, guys that are working together in the same Discord, pull off and try to stay together. But right now, Dusty Burkhart looking to see if he can maybe lead his first laps of the night in that 69 truck, as it is still Donald Sadusky on the bottom, the 46. David Overstreet, different looking truck for him here tonight, but it's the first time we've seen him up here, and we'll see if he can make some noise. Used to seeing him in the 68, but here we go, back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 44 laps to go at Daytona. And it's a pretty good even start from the front too, but now David Overstreet, not quite the best restart. Dusty Burkhart, because of that, is going to be able to slip into line in second. Alex Green, now the lead truck on the outside. He's looking to get a big push here from the rookie. Dean Viney, the back straightaway. We talk about it every time. It's the place where if you're going to make some momentum happen, you got to make it happen right here. Dusty Burkhart jumps back up to the top. He's already got a big run. He's going to get an even bigger one here as Alex Green pulls to the back bumper, gives him a nice shot, but you saw David Overstreet able to get to the inside. But how about the run out of the rookie, Michael Triscaro? Where did the 34 come from? Assistance from Tom Dixon, Dawson Wise, and Cody Nagels. And if you thought anybody was saving any fuel, I could tell you they're not. Already 3x3 for 4 rows here before we have came back to even complete the first lap since we restarted. And so in the middle now, Alex Green starting to get shuffled back. Can the 34 get clear? He did. He dropped all the way to the bottom through the tribal. That puts Tom Dixon in charge up top, as now those 3 lanes are going to drop to 2. Michael Triscaro, already saw him lead a couple laps here tonight. Got a break after getting spun around. Not that brought out the last caution, but shortly before that last caution was brought out. Dusty Burkhart, a little bit of a mistake right there. That's going to allow Nagels and Wise to split them. And they're going to go right around this 69 truck. He is waiting for some help, but he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. Vicente Guerrero going to join that 3rd lane as well. And here comes Tom Dixon out to the aid of Dusty Burkhart in the 69. But this is going to put a couple of guys that really wanted to be in control right back in the driver's seat. It looked like Alex Green and Donald Sadusky gave some consideration to maybe trying to bail out on Michael Triscaro there. But don't think they felt like they were going to be able to make the move in time, as they quickly jumped back down into their respective positions. And you can see we still have quite a gaggle of trucks. Oh, man. Dusty Burkhart got a little loose right there in the middle. Almost got down into David Overstreet and then back up into Cody Nagels. And as they stay 3x3 down the backstretch, everybody that's out back of this pack is expecting another big wreck here momentarily. But so far, these guys keeping it clean. You can tell the aggression has not calmed down at all. As more contact right there between Tom Dixon and the 10 of Anthony Williamson. That was close. Anthony Williams, man, I thought that was going to end in a wreck right there. When you hit doors here, it's so easy to get locked together, get turned around. Ken just fighting for some real estate. Some guys trying to drop down or move up a lane. Other guys not wanting to give any inches. But up front, Cody Nagels now able to drop down. Actually, Sadusky was able to get in front of Triscaro first. Cody putting the block on Sadusky to get down in front of him. And then Vicente Guerrero, Dawson Wise currently leading the outside. So I think they feel like they're in good position. I think if we do make it to green flag pit stops, the first group that we are going to see come in is probably going to be led by Cody Nagels, assuming he's still at the front. I think you'll see guys such as Vicente Guerrero, Dawson Wise, Michael Triscaro go in as well. It's going to be interesting to see, though, who Donald Sadusky would choose to pit with. He's got the preferred line being on the outside. I was actually a little surprised there to see Cody jump up. But if somehow Triscaro could push clear, I think he would jump up. They'd push him to the front. And now all those guys that were sagging a little bit behind the pack, they have started to pull back up. So I think they're feeling a little bit more comfortable here. Bubba Winningham currently sitting at the back of the pack. So he's not feeling too comfortable yet. And he may have had to, I believe he may have had to, unfortunately, take a fast repair already. And that could explain why the driver of the 66 is hanging back a little bit. You see right next to him there's the 01 of Brian Kaufman. Actually, looking back here, Bubba is being scored a lap down. So, yeah, he's just hoping that he can get the lucky dog here. Doesn't want to fight too hard. The man that he is battling, though, is Nick Biddy. And the 32, who you see, is currently sitting a couple trucks in front of him. But if Nick were to get involved in that wreck, if we were to have one here, then he wouldn't get the lucky dog. And, you know, all the time we talk about guys being laser focused through these races. Well, if you're Cody Nagels and you got as many wins as you already do on the season, you can have a little laugh while you're racing here. Probably having a little chat with the teammates, talking about some strategy, and the driver of the number 6 truck is feeling good here tonight. As good as he's feeling. I'll tell you what, let's see if we can get a quick word with the man that's leading the race. Hey, Cody, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeehaw! Yeah, I do.
All right, well, we just took a view at your driver cam. You certainly look pretty excited. Sounds like you're pretty excited so far. How's it been driving out there tonight?
Oh, I feel like that when we get connected, we can just go where we want to go right now. The team is working together on all 8. Let's just put it that way.
All right, well, we know that you had a couple extra guys here tonight. You got the rookie to your inside, Michael Triscaro. Now, we've seen a couple wrecks here tonight. So how does that kind of dictate the strategy and what we're expecting for this final pit stop, final couple?
Oh, I think we're just having fun, man. We could have played a little strategy, but everyone's like, we want to go to the front, man. It's Sunday night. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay, here we go. So I don't know. Right now, we were going to do the fuel strat, and then they said, let's have some fun. So that's what we're doing.
All right, well, we know you're busy, so we'll let you go, but thanks for talking to us. And tell you what, breast cancer awareness month paint scheme's looking good. We'll see if you can get it in victory lane.
Cool. Appreciate it.
All right, and Cody Nagels, you heard him mention that it's working for all 8 tonight. Not sure. I might have an idea as to what that means. I'm assuming that's the amount of guys that they have working together tonight. They kind of go, the general, I guess you would say, loose team name would be Limitless, but they do pick up some extra guys. I think Robert Morrison being one of those working with them here tonight in the 43 truck, hoping to make it to the pit stop. Robert Jordan with them as well, and Vicente Guerrero, I don't think he's so much an extra. I mean, we know that Vicente is looking good right now, and the chance of going to the playoffs as he currently sits second in points. So, be interesting to see here what strategy Limitless decides to go with and how it works out as we have now completed 4 laps over halfway at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. You can see Donald Sadusky not going to give it up without a fight. 3 wide as the bottom faded heavily. Now Cody Nagels is going to jump to the bottom and receive some aid here from Michael Triscaro. Watch to see Cody jump right back up to the middle here and try to hold off the 19 from dropping down. And right now it is just a race of who can get clear to the middle first. Cody Nagels is going to win that battle, and sure enough, I think you're going to see it here either down the short chute. No, he's actually going to choose to stay on the bottom right now. Maybe going to let Vicente Guerrero cool down his temps a little bit. And then you look at interesting driving styles. I remember Dale Jr. always did a little thing where he put the right hand over, and that's what saw a little bit right there from Michael Triscaro. Let's see if he does it again here through turns 3 and 4. But definitely holding a nice steady wheel. You see he's got the triple monitors, just keeping close tabs on what everybody's doing around him. And the guys that have the direct drive wheels, such as Michael Triscaro, you got to put a lot more force into them to get them to turn. So he's got the gloves on, and they're going to go 3, maybe 4 wide around the lap truck right here. This is going to get a little sketchy. The 3 of Alex Green gets sent off track. Everybody trying to squeeze around Dana Osborne. And the odd man out in this case was Alex Green. He was able to get back up in line. And it looks like Rick Seabirds is going to help him out, give that 3 truck a push, get him right back up to speed. And they will be able to maintain the draft. As you look out of the rearview view here for Cody Nagels, he sees all the action going on behind him. And you saw that, I guess you would say, that 3 wide charge being led by Donald Sadusky, and it worked. But again, Cody just always finding a way to manipulate it to get it back down to 2 where he finds himself the lead. That's exactly what he did there. But through all that chaos, the biggest guys to gain there was Vicente Guerrero and Dawson Wise, who now find themselves back up leading the middle. Sadusky taking a couple more peeks to the outside of the 98. Robert Morrison just playing patience right now behind Michael Triscaro. Only going to push him if he absolutely needs to. But a lot of good tandem work continue to go on, and there you go. Donald Sadusky going to make another move. Will Mark Mann choose to go with him? He does, as Sadusky looks for a massive side draft right off the door there of Vicente Guerrero. Ooh, Vicente almost gets down into Michael Trisquero, really tightening up here as everybody's trying to side draft the lane below. And Cody Nagels jumping up to the middle. He knew Michael Trisquero was hot. Going to try to keep that second lane even with the third. And Kevin Nagels says he meant they're hitting on all their cylinders. And you would think I should have known that, considering that the trucks, of course, are V8s. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because I'm tired tonight or what the deal is, that did not click. This racing, though, is waking me up in a hurry. I mean, these guys look like they're battling about the last 5 laps. Michael Trisquero on the bottom. Vicente Guerrero, you saw with the big surge of momentum, he's going to jump up to the middle. Cody will give him another push. As man, almost some more contact there between Donald Sadusky and Vicente Guerrero. And I'll tell you what, Mark Mann has not fallen off the back bumper here of Donald Sadusky until just now, was linked on for well over a straightaway, and that helped to propel that 19 almost to the front, even with only 2 trucks. Problem is here is Mark's starting to get hot, and he is going to have to fade back here shortly, as that truck can only handle so much in terms of temps. Now, we talked about breaking this stage up, and not so much a stage as I would say stint, into 2 stops, 15 laps for each stint. So, we go and turn hard into the wall, further back the pack, brings out the caution. It's Tom Dixon in his first start. Now we're going to have more contact as Brian Kaufman gets into the 25 of Larry Dickerson, who had nowhere to go. Rick Sebreens is around. Dixon comes to a stop as Bubba Winningham and Len McNeese are going to drive by. And so everything I just said about pit strategy, actually, I wouldn't say throw it out the window just yet. Actually, we were just getting ready to approach the green flag stop. But we are still going to probably be expecting that 1 green flag stop here, as this will break it down to something under 15 laps when they do have to pit. But taking a look back at this wreck, there you see Dixon on the inside of Dean Viney, both of those 2 rookies. And take a look from the spotter stand. You see, looks like Viney's just coming down a little bit, and I'm not sure if he actually gets into him. Certainly looks that way from the TV cam. And if we go back here to the chopper view and watch, you be the judge here. You see Dean coming down. I'll tell you what, Tom just slightly comes off the yellow, but I mean, it's really hard to keep it absolutely perfectly on the yellow. I don't think Tom came up enough to know much of it or call it anything of his fault. And in Dean's defense, they never do touch. So again, keep talking about it. We've seen it a couple times here tonight, and we see it yet again. I think this is going to be the best view of it here, is the one from the right rear for Tom Dixon. Watch this. So you see Dean start to come down, but never touches him. And right there, it just turns the truck around. And now, of course, there is contact, as you see the heavy, heavy hit for the 71 and the 411, and then the 46 of Overstreet. Just nowhere to go, barrels in. And then you're going to see the 66, Bubba Winningham, slight contact. Don't think it's too bad. The 25 trying to avoid, goes low. The 01 was already committed to that lane, so that gave Brian Kaufman some extra damage. As we take 2 more looks at this one. First one from another one of the TV cams. There's the hard contact. David Overstreet, I think that's going to be a fast pair from him as well. And Dana Osborne, I think this one will officially end his night. There's a 25 getting spun around. Don't think it's too bad. And then the 62 of Les Levy was able to actually get checked up at time. Looked like Ricky Hentworth as well. Because of that, they were both able to miss this. Final view, this is from the onboard of Ricky Wentworth. Actually, we'll go up to David Overstreet here. And you see David, absolutely no time to react. As he keeps it up against the wall, makes some contact there with Tom Dixon. And the rest is history. Back live, going to be approaching 30 laps to go in the NSRA Sunday Select Series here at Daytona International Speedway. It is Michael Trisquero, the rookie, leading. He is up 21 positions from where he started so far tonight, having a phenomenal night. Vicente Guerrero in second. Cody Nagels in third, with Robert Morrison back in fourth. Dawson Wise in fifth. Mark Mann in sixth. Dusty Burkhart seventh. Donald Sadusky in eighth, with Robert Jordan ninth. And John Guerra currently rounding out your top 10. We are going to take a quick break. Should get the one-to-go signal this time, and we will be back for the restart. Michael Trisquero leading at Daytona. Stick with us. Back ready for the restart. Green flag is back in the air. 29 laps to go at Daytona. Good even jump for the first 2 rows this time. Michael Triscaro is going to hang even with his teammate, the 14, Vicente Guerrero. Ooh, saw some sparks flying out the back. As the further back you go, you see John Guerra in the 88 just in front of him, the 19 of Donald Sadusky. But Vicente Guerrero still on the bottom. Watch for the top, though, to get a big charge here. Robert Morrison locked onto the back bumper of Michael Triscaro. And we talked about this race is now officially only going to be a one-stopper from here. And if guys could make it about 18 laps on fuel, then they could run to 70. However, I think maybe you try some strategy here and see if you can pit with some guys around you, maybe a little bit earlier, somewhere around lap 65, but we're going to wreck 2 trucks hard into the outside wall. And it is going to bring out the caution as the 43 truck took a tremendous amount of damage to the right front. Robert Morrison, heavy hit for the 43. You see the inside of that truck shaking bad as he almost ripped the tether off of the wheel. My goodness. You can see the right front bouncing around. It's going to be a fast repair if he can get this thing back to the pits. Just got the restart. Hadn't got fanned out 3 wide yet, but man, whatever went wrong, it was pretty brutal. And these are 2 guys that were, to say, working together to a degree, but they weren't in the same lane at the time. You see Vicente on the bottom and Morrison up top. And watch the 43 truck here as he's going to just start to... Actually, Vicente's creeping up. Yeah, I tell you what, Vicente's creeping up right here. And you got to wonder... I mean, looks like Cody is giving him a little push right here. And if that push was just pushing the 14 up a little bit and gets up far enough to where him and the 43 come together, and that sends the 14 into the outside wall. Pretty hard hit. 43 was the one that really clobbered it. So he almost climbed the wall, it looked like. And it gets back rolling, but man, that was a hard hit. You saw the tire. I'm telling you, that thing looked like it was getting ready to rip off. Watch this. I just think it's that secondary when he climbs the wall. I'm amazed that everybody else actually managed to miss this wreck. But if you look from the spot of view, you see Len McNeese further in the background. Does about a half spin, but he was able to keep it straight and not hit anything. Let's actually ride on board here for the 43 of Robert Morrison and back this up a little more. You'll see it actually looks like from his view too that Vicente is creeping up just ever so slightly. There's the contact. And there's the impact. And so 2 trucks that went from leading this event are now going to have to go to the pits as we get one final look at it here from TV2. So as everybody is able to get through, that wreck's going to collect 3 trucks, and all 2 of them that actually have to come to the pits for damage. And so as we go back live, it is Joe Divide leading the way in the 2 truck. And actually, that truck is clean. I'm surprised he's got a fast spare left. I would have to think maybe he didn't use it on the initial incident that he was involved in. But I certainly don't believe that that 2 truck has any more left. He leads the way. He's got Anthony Williams to his outside in 2nd. Nick Biddy back in 3rd. Mark Mann in 4th. And it's going to be Donald Sadusky currently rounding out your top 5. So as it stands, it's still looking like we are expecting 1 pit stop here under green. If we were to make that far, as looks like it's going to be just about 25 laps to go, 26 when they take the green. Yeah, so they still can't quite make it all the way. They'd have to have a caution sometime after about 9 laps or so from when we get the green. But if we do have that green flag stop, again, you continue to think about what strategies do teams try to play to maybe separate themselves from the amount of madness, chaos, and wreckage that we have had here tonight at certain points. Let's see if we can get a quick word with the rookie leading out front. Hey, Joe, this is us up in the booth. You got a copy?
Oh, 10-4. What's going on, fellas?
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, it's looking good so far here. Now, we've seen you involved in a couple incidents here tonight, but now you find yourself in the lead. How are you going to be able to manage this with, I'm assuming, no fast repairs remaining?
All right, man. I got no fast repairs, but the good thing is I got 2 teammates behind me. So we're going to look to hold this bottom until I can get up, and we're going to try to get lined up and maybe make something happen.
Well, talking a little bit more about the whole teammate thing that you got set up here. If you get all 3 of you guys lined up, how does that kind of change the pit strategy around? Do you run this thing out? Do you pit early? Do you split it halfway?
No, man, we're on, we got to pit again. Everybody's got to pit again. So we're going to go one more and try to get a green flag and see what happens. Right now, we got about 15 laps of fuel, so.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it then. Hey, I see you got the one to go signal, so we'll let you go. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see if we see you in victory lane tonight.
All right, man. Have a good night, guys. Thanks.
All right. That is rookie Joe Divide. And it talked about he's got a couple teammates behind him. He noted that. And that could be a very, very big deal late in the race here at Daytona, referring to, of course, Anthony Williams, and I'm assuming Nick Biddy, the other two new drivers in the field here tonight. 3 rookies. We're going to see if they can get one of them in victory lane here tonight. And as we go down the backstretch, quick shout out to everybody that's still watching here tonight. Appreciate you being here. Hope that you are enjoying. 3 of our guys carrying an onboard camera here. Actually, we got 4 out of the 5 still in the cams. Looks like Dawson Wise taking a little bit of a break here. In fact, Dawson currently sitting back in the 14th spot, figuring out how he is going to go about getting himself back to the front right here. But with, it's going to be exactly 25 laps to go for this restart. And so Joe Divide and also Nick Biddy on the inside are going to have to either... It's interesting to hear him say that they're going to line up. Usually it seems like the more effective strategy is trying to kind of hold both lanes up. But at the same time, if you can get 3 teammates lined up, it might be easier to maintain that track position. We'll see if they can do just that. The fuel window for this final stop is going to open anytime, I would say about lap 60. I'm going to say 64 to call it safe. Anytime about lap 64 after. A couple laps sooner, you might be able to make it, but I think it's a little bit of a risky choice. I think we're going to see that final stop somewhere between laps 65 and 70, though, assuming that we make it there under green. Back into the Geico restart zone. The 2-truck throttles up through the gears. And it's a good start for the inside and the outside. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get the 10 of Nick Biddy to be able to drop down, or excuse me, the 10 of Anthony Williams to drop down in front of Biddy and Divide. So we'll see here. If they decide to jump up down the back straightaway, that's where all the momentum from the top is going to come from. So if you're going to try to block a run, or in this case, pull a teammate clear, that's going to be the chance to do it, but they're not going to be able to do it. So now the 2 trucks going to have to try to fend off the run from Mark Mann and Anthony Williams. Williams starting to stall out here as the 32 gives a huge push to Joe down the Daytona super stretch. No competition there as Mark Mann was locked on, but they just could not seem to generate much, if any, momentum. And now it looks like the 2-truck, Joe Divide's thinking about trying to pull his teammate up the track, but Nick Biddy won none of it. He's going to stay down. And as they stay 2 by 2, that little bit of a stack-up has allowed that outside line to now catch up. And the 10-truck of Anthony Williams going to get a little bit of a side draft here. No move just yet. Further back, guys dicing around for position, and a couple of them just hanging back to see if they're going to wreck again. Going back, taking a check at some of our guys with the onboard camera for us here tonight. Michael Triscaro, currently the highest running of them all. And you see, as it stands, he does sit. Looks like actually he's sitting up 4 from where he started here. And for one reason or another, actually looks like the driver cam is not displaying right now. As, not sure what happened here for Michael Triscaro, but it looks like we have, I guess you could say, lost temporary communication. But Cody Nagels, the next man up, he is currently sitting back in 7th. Just behind him, another guy that he's working with tonight, and that would be Dawson Wise. Been having a pretty good run, but again, a little bit of bad luck so far here tonight. He's going to need a little bit of help here the rest of the way if he wants a shot at getting the win. But their biggest chance here tonight, I think, is going to be a green flag pit stop. Just have not seen any so far, as that was a big move from Alex Green right there to the top. I think he was trying to hold Michael Triscaro back, and it almost brought out another caution. 23 laps to go, starting to fan out again. We got 1 truck off. Looks like the 33 of Ricky Wentworth. He must not like what he's seeing, as he is now going to drop to the back. And Cody Nagels looking 3 wide. Here we go. Going to jump to the outside quarter panel of Mark Mann. Dawson Wise is going to go with him. Adam Kilday and Alex Green going to stay in the bottom. And now we're going to see the 10 of Anthony Williams thinking about jumping to block the top. Quickly realizes it's not the move, and he'll jump back down to the middle. And this has been a rare sight here tonight to see this many trucks from the inside get clear of either lane on the outside. But almost 3 trucks were clear off of turn 4, Donald Sadusky. And I think if he would have got clear, he certainly would have made the move. But the 32 of Nick Biddy and the 2 of Joe Divide, I don't think they're going anywhere right now. But with the amount of shuffling going on at the front, I would say that there is no way that we finish this race under green, much less have a green flag pit stop. But that window is going to open here in about 5 laps. So we'll see if everybody can hold together. The 10 really pitching the 32, gets on the apron. Not going to save it, back up into traffic. This is going to be a big one. Yellow flag is out as they all pile up on the exit of turn number 4. And that's going to change the complexity of this race even more. Let's go take a look at what brings out your 6th caution of the night. Talked about the 3 wide. They started to pinch tighter and tighter. And the further back it goes. The 32 here initially actually gets on the apron. Again, this is Nick Biddy. And we'll go back to him here. Their strategy had been working out. He had a teammate in front of him and a teammate on the side of him. But, oh, some contact from the 10 truck of Anthony Williams there. You saw his left rear hit the right front of Biddy. Sends it down to the apron and maybe trying to check up, but going from a flat apron, or from a high banking, to the flat on the apron, just way too much of a speed difference. It's too hard to keep the truck down there most of the time, and exactly what the case was. 32 trying to slow down, slid up, and the 19 was there. Heavy contact ensues as you see him go up the banking. Looks like about 4 or 5 trucks in total collected, although I'm not sure that the damage was too bad for some of these guys, all things considered. Let's take a couple different angles of it here. Let's take a ride on board actually here with Biddy. See just what I'm talking about here with how hard it is to save it. So there's the knock. And yeah, you hear him check up. I think initially he was hoping that maybe if he stayed in the throttle, the back end would come around, maybe help him slow it down, but it just didn't. And I mean, you heard him bail out of the throttle as quick as he could. Just, fortunately, just too hard to do here. I think if we're at Talladega, that is not a wreck because he would have been able to stay down on the apron and still maintain speed. But that's one of the differences that we do see here. Daytona makes it tricky to get off a pit road as well. That is a different story that we have not got to see here yet tonight. So Joe Divide is still leading the way. He's up 11 in total from where he started tonight. Anthony Williams, his teammate, going to be to his outside in second, up 16 from where he started tonight. And how about Ricky Wentworth making his first appearance in the top 4 here tonight in a 33 truck? He is up 23 positions from where he started. And all of a sudden, the 33 may be playing a little bit on that Mark Mann strategy. We'll see if this works out for him here tonight. Cody Nagel's back in 4th. Dawson Wise rounding out your top 5. Michael Trasquero in 6th with Dusty Burkhart back in 7th. Alex Green in 8th. Brian Kaufman in 9th. And Rick Seabreed's rounding out your top 10. Again, anybody that's just tuning in, we certainly appreciate you being here. Starting to wind down on the end of the Mann Outdoors 200 here at the World Center of Racing. We are going to take another quick break. When we come back, we will have the restart. First restart within 20 laps to go. That's where things are going to get chaotic. Stick with us. Back live at Daytona International Speedway for the Mann Outdoors 200. Live on Ghost Racing Network. Getting ready for another restart after wrapping up your sixth caution here of the night. Fuel window. Now it is interesting. Everybody who topped off, it's close, but from what I'm seeing, based off some of the guys that I saw stay out, I'm thinking they are not quite good to go the rest of the way on fuel. As, big stack of out back. The 66 of Bubba Winningham's going to spin it. And this will probably bring the caution right back out, and sure enough, it does. And man, oh man. Bubba Winningham stopped in the middle of the track. Not sure exactly what happened here to the driver of the 66. I'm thinking it may have been a downshift. Certainly some sort of, if not a downshift, then of course some sort of technical issue here. But let's go back and take a look first. If looks like it was indeed just a downshift. You saw him fishtail really, really hard a couple times. Did he get tagged in the back maybe? As we go up here to the chopper view. Slow this down for you. A little bit of a checkup. No harm, no foul. And Bubba does get tagged in the back. Saves it. And then I think it already basically just about spun the truck out. I think that might have been the 33 as well of Ricky Wentworth. And let's watch from the onboard now of Winningham. This might be a little bit more telltale. So I take it back. Definitely don't think he missed his shift. I think this was just, it knocked him so far. I lined the back tires were not gripping. Yeah, had to steer it from hitting the outside wall, steers it back, and then steers it from hitting the inside line. Unfortunately, at that point, it just overcorrects it. Little contact with the wall, but again, don't think it's going to be fast repair worthy. If anything, it's just going to bring us right back under caution for another few laps or so. So everybody that's watching in the chat right now, put your votes in. Who do you think is going to win this race? I'm telling you, the further I see this thing go on, certainly can't count out that 2 truck of Joe Divide. But as always, I like putting my money on some of the guys that I see at their front a lot. You can never count out Cody Nagels, Dawson Wise, but Dusty Burkhart back in 6th. We've seen him in the top 4 through quite a bit of this race. Top 10 for, I would say, just about all of it. And he could be his night here. See if he can find his way to the front before this thing's all said and done. Looking at the weather, it is currently 1 o'clock in the morning sim time. See, wind still at 2 miles an hour, nice and calm from just a little bit off center from being directly north. And it looks like track temp has cooled down about 3 degrees now at 69 from what it was 72. Still partly cloudy skies. And so as we go back towards the front, Cody's going to top off on fuel now. One thing that's very important to note with that caution that I feel like I didn't give enough credit to is this is going to make the fuel window. This is probably going to make the fuel window in the sense of I think that's why you see pretty much everybody coming in to top off right there. I think everybody will be good to go on fuel from here, and it's just going to be a sprint of everybody duking it out. You may have to save for, I don't know, maybe the first 5 laps of this run just to be safe or have enough for an overtime. But I think as close as it is, I think they'll have enough to make it if we were to finish this thing in regulation. You see the amount of trucks that Daytona has already collected here tonight. Tom Dixon, Dean Viney, Dana Osborne, Alex Giffen. All trucks have been victims of enough wrecks here tonight where they have had to take it back to the haulers. They just ran out of fast repairs. And then George Rincon did not make the race at all here tonight. He will be getting 28th place points. So it looks like it's going to line up as Les Levy with the lead. David Overstreet in 2nd. Donald Sadusky 3rd. Cody Nagels back and forth. Dawson Wise in 5th. Michael Triscaro in 6th with Joe Divide in 7th. Dusty Burkhart 8th. Vicente Guerrero in 9th. And Anthony Williams currently rounding out your top 10. And Michael Triscaro sitting just behind Cody Nagels and Dawson Wise. I can almost guarantee you if those 3 trucks find a way to get together, that all 3 of them are going to jump ship to the outside line, make it 3 wide and go to the front. But with what's going to be, assuming we get the one to go this time, 15 laps to go and we take the green. I mean, it's go time at this point. I don't think there's going to be much, if any, give at this point. I think it's all take from here. I think you're going to see him fan out 3 wide within the first lap or 2 and try to hold it the rest of the way. If we do get another caution, I think, again, you might see everybody coming in top off, especially guys that are in the back half of the field, is you want to make sure you're good on fuel for those 2 overtimes if we were to need them. It has been certainly a good night of racing so far here tonight at Daytona. Next week, going to head again to, actually I forgot here if it was Legacy Daytona. I believe it was I think it's Legacy Daytona. And yep, sure enough, next week we are going to head back to Daytona, but Legacy Daytona, and it will be in the trucks again before we round out the regular season with the Xfinity cars at Talladega. And it's the All-Star race with an LCQ. Those will be in the ARCA cars at Talladega Super Speedway. Chase gets kicked off with Daytona in the trucks, followed by Talladega and the Xfinity cars. Round of 8 will be the trucks at Legacy Daytona with the Xfinity cars at regular Daytona. And then similar to what we saw last year, the Final Four championship race is going to be at Talladega Super Speedway. And again, it will be in the Xfinity cars. And I feel like, to be honest, they provided the best product for what we saw in the championship race. Saw a lot of tight racing, and I mean, how are you going to be able to forget the absolutely amazing comeback that we saw from Cody Nagels there in that overtime finish, along with the heartbreak brought along for Daniel Holloway, who looked like had everything going in his direction, had the lead. Just a little bit of a mistake from the 21. I believe he was the 21. Saw him a couple races ago. Yeah, sure enough. Just wasn't his night. But Cody's looking to go back-to-back this season. Mark Mann is looking to get himself back on the championship trophy. And then I got to be honest, I think we're going to see two new guys that maybe we haven't seen before in the championship for fighting for it this season. And like I said, it's too hard for me to pick four favorites, especially when you look at Super Speedway Racing. Just too many things that go on. But when you look at the points right now, you got to expect that Cody Nagels is going to be one of the guys fighting for a championship four. But the beautiful thing is that once the round of 16 starts, things tend to reset. Everything changes, and it makes for a much more intense battle throughout the playoffs. All right, here we go. Pace car is going to pull off. 15 laps to go. Good to go on fuel. And now it is a race to the finish. Who is going to win under the bright lights at Daytona International Speedway? Green flag is back in the air for Les Levy. He gets off to a pretty good jump. Donald Sadusky trying to give a big push to the 62 truck, but on the outside, David Overstreet's going to get to a good rolling start here. Cody Nagels looking to lock up early. And down the back straightaway, we continue to talk about the run that everybody gets. Cody, one of the most aggressive pushers in the series. Watch the run that this second lane's about to get. Now, Sadusky's going to have to do everything he can to make sure he can keep that 62 up there. The 19 does a good job of getting right to the back bumper of Les Levy, and that is going to cancel out the outside run. Neither of the trucks in the third row are able to get to their respective pushers. So you see Michael Triscaro and Dawson Wise starting to fade back just a little bit. The 2 versus 2 truck tandem up front is going to go to the 62 and the 19 through turns 3 and 4. And everybody that was sitting at the back, I think you're going to see them start trying to make their way to the front. Is the 3 truck of Alex Green. You see he is already looking to see if Len McNeese, or anybody in that vicinity rather, would like to go 3 wide. Nobody takes the bait. So you have to drop back in line. Bubba Winningham, after that last caution, as soon as we got the restart, got trapped in the back because of it. Cody Nagels still going to stay on the outside, and honestly, I think Cody definitely is not going to stay content with where he is for the rest of this race, but I think for now he's content as, oh man, Les Levy with a big wiggle. I think he got either doored or slightly net-coated right there from the left door of David Overstreet, and now Sadusky finds himself trapped in the middle as Les Levy was able to save it. Dawson Wise trying to check up. A lot of chaos right here. This is sketchy here. Can everybody hold on to it? Sadusky still falling back through the middle. You saw Cody Nagels and Michael Triscaro pounce immediately on the opportunity as they went 3 wide. Robert Morrison gets into the outside wall further back. Donald Sadusky able to drop down to the bottom. He's going to need David Overstreet to pull up pretty quick, though. He's going to run out of momentum here if he's not careful. Cody Nagels looks like, yeah, sure enough, that 6 truck is clear to the bottom. But he sees right now that Michael Triscaro has absolutely no help. Sticking with his teammate. We'll see how well it works out. Man, looked like they just got absolutely yanked back from the collar right there as Donald Sadusky. David Overstreet got a big run now. Sadusky is going to do a little bit of his show a little bit of his veteran presence right here as he does a little bit of a block up to the middle lane right there. But more or less just trying to control the momentum that Cody Nagels was getting. And now Cody's going to drop to the bottom. That puts Michael Triscaro all alone in the sucker hole. And he is going to go to the back here until he can either find a spot in line or get some help. Cody just letting that 34 cool off a bit, as now he's going to jump back to the middle and try to pull his teammate back to the front. You see Dawson Wise in the 98, along with the 43 of Robert Morrison, both 2 more trucks in the middle, trying to get a run to get up here to help these two, but they just keep stalling out every lane that they work up. But up front, 3x3 for 2, make it 3 rows deep, as welcome to the party, Dawson Wise. Off of turn 2, the 98 machine. Oh, we got one turned out back, make it 2. 2 trucks around as it's the 2 truck and the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. Joe divide the other one. Vicente Guerrero with heavy damage to the front end. As we saw Joe Divide get into the outside wall. Brings out your 8th caution here of the night with 12 laps to go. And let's go back and take a look. And, ooh, 2 truck just gets hooked by the fort. Wow, that was absolutely some of the wildest netcode that I have ever seen in the secondary portion of this wreck. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, let's see if there was indeed contact between these two. We go to the right rear. There's Vicente Guerrero. Yeah, it's certainly looking like there was. See Vicente pull to the outside and just hits him a little bit. That hooks the 2 around. Take a better angle of it here from the chopper cam. All right, so you see Vicente in the 14 here. He's going to jump out of line right off of turn 2. And when he does so, yeah, just doesn't pull out far enough. Not sure if he was going for a side draft or didn't mean to tuck out. Not sure what exactly was going through his mind, but yeah, just wasn't out far enough. So he makes contact with the 2 truck, and that sends the 2 hard into the outside wall. But the thing that, I mean, you just look at this and you say, what in the world is this damage that Vicente Guerrero receives right here? Watch this. The netcode from the 2's back bumper, I mean, it looks like he hit a concrete wall. I mean, the 14 truck shoots about a 90-degree angle dead left after going about 180 miles an hour. Watch this. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen something quite like this. Man. Brutal, brutal impact to Vicente Guerrero's truck through that, and that's what gave him such heavy damage on the front end. And although he never hit the wall or anything, let's see what if he doesn't get that netcode right there. The wreck, all in all for him, maybe isn't too bad, but here's a look from the spotter stand. A wild, wild ride for Vicente Guerrero. Take one more look at it here from the wall cam. And so as they continue to clean up the debris from their 8th caution of the night, that'll put us with the restart now, probably somewhere around, looking like maybe 7 or 8 laps to go here, as Cody Nagels is being scored as your current leader. A dangerous man to have in front this late. And there's Alex Green, showed some aggression there, saw that he wanted to go to the front, kept trying at it, found a couple other guys that wanted to go to the front, and now he finds himself in 2nd here for this restart. Michael Triscaro back in 3rd with Donald Sadesky in 4th. Mark Mann back in 5th with David Overstreet in 6th. Dawson Wise in 7th with Rick Seabrands back in 8th. Dusty Burkhart in 9th, and Anthony Williams currently rounding out your top 10. Robert Morrison just outside looking in right now, sits in 11th. Kevin Engels put his vote in for Cody to win this race. That's a pretty good choice. We'll see if things were to pan out that way. And at this point, it's just been so aggressive. We know cautions breed cautions, and just kind of has that feel to it that guys never really were able to get in too much of a rhythm tonight. Because of that, I hate to say, but I would not be surprised if we still see another caution or 2 before this thing's all said and done. But before then, as we hopefully get the 1-to-go signal this time at the line, we are going to take another quick break, get a drink of water, and meet us back here for potentially the final restart here at Daytona. Cody Nagels leading. Back live at Daytona International Speedway as the pace car is going to make the hard left turn. It's going to be 8 laps to go. Green flag is back in the air. Good jump for the inside this time. Cody Nagels with about a truck length of a lead. Michael Triscaro giving him a push. But you can see on that outside, Donald Sadusky and David Overstreet have already got locked onto the 3 truck, and that inside with a little bit of a break. This is going to be a big chance right here for Alex Green. Can he get clear before Mark Mann locks on? Big push to the 3 truck. Too big of a push. It's going to get him out of shape. Donald Sadusky tries to correct it by jumping to the outside. Both trucks able to save it. And you can see now this has put Sadusky in a little bit of an awkward position as he is fading back. Going to get a little help from the 10 of Anthony Williams as that 3rd lane continues to try to develop. Cody's going to be the man to make a big block to the outside. Alex Green, no move as he's going to stick behind the 6 truck. David Overstreet doing a lot of pushing. We know Cody and Triscaro both have a win on the season, looking for number 2, but some of these other guys maybe going to get a little impatient, try to jump 3 wide. Mark Mann doing a good job pushing on the bottom as Overstreet looks like maybe starting to set up a little bit of a run here. And that fall has allowed Michael Triscaro to get clear of the top. We'll see if he jumps up in front of Cody here. Little bit of bobbing and weaving out back as they got 3 wide. A lot of fishtailing out of a couple trucks. We had one jump off. Might have been the 25 of Larry Dickerson. Could not tell for sure. But back up front, Cody Nagels still leading, staying on the outside for now. He knows he's got a teammate to work with on the inside, so he'll probably stick up here until next time he gets clear. I think he'll drop back down, let that 3 truck cool off a little bit. And Alex Green right now is just playing right into the hands of what Cody Nagels wants to do. That 3 truck, I think, is going to split him 3 wide here soon, though, if Cody doesn't make the move back down to the bottom. Further back, nobody else has taken it 3 wide just yet. Now we're going to see Overstreet jump out of line. Dawson Wise will take advantage. Nobody jumping up to help the 46, and now he will continue to lose positions. As David Overstreet falls back, that's another position gain for Dawson Wise, one of the drivers currently sitting below the cutoff line. How big would a win be for the 98 machine here tonight? Nagel still leading on the outside. Michael Triscaro still leading on the inside. The 3 of Alex Green has been pushing hard for a couple laps. Got to think his temps are starting to get hot as we take a ride on board. Look at the track temp still sitting at 69, so it's not as hard to cool down as it usually is, but you see Mark Mann as well doing a good job of pushing the 34. Now another surge of momentum. This one going to be enough to get Cody Nagels clear here. We'll see if he takes it. And looks like Cody doesn't. Chooses to stay up top yet again. Michael Triscaro on the bottom. Maybe going to go for a little bit of a side draft on his teammate right here as Mark Mann lines him up again. Dusty Burkhart back in 3rd. And speaking of 3rd, here comes the 3rd lane getting formed up with Reek Seabrands on the outside. Donald Sadusky looking for a push. Alex Green's going to make the block. 3x3 now into turn number 3. Nagels is going to fade here a little bit. A lot of dicing going on just behind these guys. Almost a wreck right there as I saw Robert Jordan have to catch it among a couple others. Alex Green, though, still looking for a run. Now Nagels finds himself buried in the 2nd position on the inside. Mark Mann made the move on the rookie. Alex Green now going to pull back even. 3 versus 3 versus 3. All lanes. That 3rd lane, though, now going to fade to 2 trucks as they were able to get Alex Green clear. He'll jump to the bottom. Mark Mann leading the middle. Still Rick Seabrands up top, but he only has help from Donald Sadusky. Oh, big wreck. The 3 truck down the track. Yellow flag is out as a bunch more are going to get collected as they slide up into the outside wall down the Daytona super stretch. The 46 of David Overstreet's in it. Cody Nagels is in it. Anthony Williams. And this is going to collect a whole bunch of them as it will send us to our first overtime of the night. Let's go take another look at it here. And, oh, Triscaro and Green, the 2 that get together. Does Green just hesitate a little bit here? Or does Triscaro maybe get him a little shot out of line? All right, so here we go. Actually, let's back this up further for a little bit more context. I think Alex actually had made the move down somewhere in the middle of the corner. And actually, yeah, so Alex gets clear, jumps all the way to the bottom. You see just how far ahead he is. And that lines the run up for Michael Triscaro and Cody Nagels up to be a little too big. That pushes the 3 truck about half a lane up, but he's still half a lane in the bottom. Then when Triscaro tries to reline up, just gets him offset, sends him around, and the rest of the wreck is on from there. Let's take a couple different angles of this one here. And Rick Seabrands with a big hit to the inside wall. Went from chance at winning this race to potentially a chance of this caution ending his night. And watch this hit for the 4 truck. Actually, a couple big hits. You see the 3 truck getting pirouetted, tags the back of the truck, and the 4, a little bit more unlucky, tags with the front end of the truck. As give you another shot of it. Boom. There's the initial hit for Michael Triscaro. And Rick Seabrands getting turned down to the inside wall. There's the secondary impact for the 4 truck. Boom. So it brings out your 9th caution of the night. And at the caution limit, we are at, a little bit of a fun fact, we are now at an average caution of 1 every less than 10 laps. A caution less than every 10 laps. So hopefully these guys can get it wrapped up right here. As again, this will send us into our first overtime. Dusty Burkhart being scored as your leader. Donald Sadusky in 2nd. Robert Morrison back in 3rd. Dawson Wise in 4th. And John Garrett currently rounding out your top 5. Dusty Burkhart, we talked about him earlier. Been doing a good job all night. Still looking for that first win of the season. Let's see if we can get a quick word with the driver of the 69 truck. Hey, Dusty, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. Well, you're looking pretty good out there. We've seen you towards the front half of the pack, top 10 for basically all of the race. Now you find yourself in the catbird seat. But what's it going to take these last 2 laps to try to hold on for the win?
Man, I don't know. I've been lucky up here. I've dodged a few wrecks, and I'm hoping I can get some pushing and stay up here in the front.
Well, you look at point situation, you're looking okay right now in terms of points, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to go for the win. How are you balancing that out here? Do you lay it all on the line, or do you still try to be conservative and go home with a good finish?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't had a win yet in this league, so I'm going for the win. I'm just going to give it all I got, and first or last.
Hey, all right. Sounds like a pretty good plan to me. We'll see if we're talking to you here in just a couple laps. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Dusty Burkhart. A little quote from Ricky Bobby right there. If you're not first, you're last. And we'll see if that's the case right here. So should be getting the 1-to-go signal this time. And I know that you guys are probably tired of it at home, but I need to get another drink of water here as I've ran out of content as well until we can get to racing, that is. So we will be right back to try to finish this thing off at Daytona. Stick with us. Back live at Daytona International Speedway, getting ready for overtime here to decide the winner of the Mann Outdoors 200. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go as Dusty Burkhart gets out to a phenomenal jump. But is it going to be too much of a jump on the outside? Donald Sadusky already getting lined up very, very quickly with Dawson Wise. Those two are going to have a lot of momentum down the Daytona super stretch. And now you see Robert Morrison starting to make his way to the back bumper of Burkhardt. It's going to be a drag race. Remember, if we can make it all the way back to the white flag, this race will be official. Further back, here comes a big run for Cody Nagels. That pink and black truck catching the eye of just about everybody is now Dawson Wise. Is going to split Sadusky. They're going to wreck out back. We're not going to make it. Caution flag is out. Big hit into the outside wall after the fact from Michael Triscaro and Robert Jordan. And it is now your 10th caution of the night. All right, let's go back and take a look here. This is going to be further back towards the middle of the pack. And trying to back this up here a little bit further, I want to take a look from the chopper view at it. And you see, this is actually the last wreck. I apologize. I thought it put us on the previous one. And, well, similar theme is it's going to be Alex Green as one of the guys involved here. And 3 wide and just a really odd look there. I mean, the 0-1 of Brian Kaufman, excuse me, just tags the back bumper there of Robert Jordan. Not sure if it was a really big checkup or what the deal was here. Watch the 0-1. So they're 3 wide. Was he maybe trying to split 4? I'm not sure. I'm thinking there had to be some sort of checkup right there for Robert Jordan. For him to all of a sudden have gotten that slow that quick. I'll back this up, take an onboard view here for Brian Kaufman. And take a listen. So you see he tries to split Robert Jordan here. And nothing doing. Jordan, yeah, oh, it's a checkup. Yeah, sure enough, that's what it is. You see the truck just in front of Robert Jordan. I think that was Ricky Wentworth with a little bit of checkup as well. So the stack-up effect amplifies the most right at Brian Kaufman, and that's why he did get into the back of Robert Jordan. And then the wreck just spirals on from here. There's the initial contact. 33 of Ricky Wentworth went for quite a slide. And then Michael Triscaro in the secondary portion of this wreck is Robert Jordan was still out of control. Let's take a couple different angles of this one. And if we go back here to the TV mixed, there's a hard hit for David Overstreet as well. Didn't notice that initially. Mark Mann was in it. I'll tell you what, though, the 10 of Anthony Williams does a very, very nice job of missing all this. Even the secondary wreck afterwards, which you saw Michael Triscaro get caught up in with Robert Jordan. Right on board with the 10. Watch this. He's able to miss the initial wreck, and then he's going to have to miss it a second time. And then he's going to miss it a third time. I'll tell you what, a lot of guys try to just pick a lane and shoot the gap, but sometimes getting on the brakes can be your best friend. And that is exactly what happened right there for the 10 truck. As he is just ever so slightly going to make it through right here. Watch how close this gets. Michael Triscaro coming down. Already misses Mark Mann, and then secondary incident. Boom. There's the contact for Robert Jordan and Michael Triscaro. Back down the track, and the 10 truck's going to find a way to miss it yet again. So again, brings out your 10th caution here of the night, and it is going to set us into our second. I'm trying to check here. I believe what ends up being our second and only overtime. In fact, we'll blow this up just to be sure. I know I'd got it mixed up a couple times. Yeah, sure enough. Second and last green, white, checkered. So whatever happens, the race will end after this restart right here, whether we wreck or we make it to the white flag and finish this race under green. So Dusty Burkhardt, his chances continue to look better and better here because he knows that if they wreck, he's got it won. But he's going to have to try to hold off a charging Dawson Wise who will line up on his outside with help from at least one, if not a couple teammates here. Robert Morrison is going to line up third on the inside. Vicente Guerrero fourth. He'll start on the outside. And then row number 3 is going to be John Guerra and Cody Nagels. It's going to be a fun finish right here. Should get the 1-to-go signal this time. And looks like, sure enough, we do. And so with that being the case, can Dusty Burkhardt hold on for 2 more laps? At this point, you see how many trucks Daytona has collected and ended the night for, going all the way back, in fact, to 22nd on back, all out of the race, starting with Brian Kaufman, Rick Seabrains, and everybody else from earlier. And we do have a truck or two that is not on the lead lap fighting for the lucky dog, but unfortunately, if you're a lap down at this point, you are going to finish that way. You see Joe Divide currently being scored 2 laps down. Whatever he got back, it's going to be all he's going to get here So as it stands, we do currently have 20 trucks rather, being scored on the lead lap. The 20th place truck still sitting in the pits. That is Robert Jordan. But if we make it to the white flag, the race will be official. If we don't make it to the white flag, the race will be official. One of them is just going to be a matter of if we get to see a race to the finish, or if these guys have to pace it out to the finish. Appreciate everybody again sticking around tonight. It certainly has been a long one, longer than these usually go. Usually about an hour and a half at the longest. But things have gotten certainly pretty messy here tonight. 10 cautions. Nonetheless, getting ready to see if we can get it all wrapped up right here. And Dawson Wise, haven't talked enough about the fact that the 98 is below the cut line as it stands right now. He is in position to get his first win of the season, and he really, really needs it right here. He's going to have a couple teammates lined up behind him here, and Vicente Guerrero and Cody Nagels. Robert Morrison, though, you know he's going to push really hard on the bottom, but I'll tell you what, I genuinely think that Dawson is in prime position. I don't look to see Vicente or Cody even flinch to make a move on this 98 right here. So if you're Dawson, I think you're the man in control of this race right here. If you get clear of the bottom, you'll have the choice to drop down. And if you don't and you get stuck in the middle, even if that third lane forms, you're going to have two of the best pushers in the series behind you. All right, here we go. Officially, for the final time, the pace car is going to make the hard left turn to the pits. Back into the restart zone. Final try. Green flag is back in the air. Overtime number 2 at Daytona. It's a good even start. The 98, though, is going to get it out to a little bit of a lead here. We'll see what he decides to do. Looks like he's going to actually get clear of Dusty Burkhardt down into turn number 1. So far, he's going to stay at the top. They're going to wreck out back. Couple trucks around. We'll see if it stays green. And remember, the final 2 laps are iRacing only cautions, no admin cautions. Looks like we're going to stay green as they now drag race down the Daytona super stretch. Dawson Wise still trying to hold clear as we work our way through turns 3 and 4, still looking for the white flag. Now Cody's going to drop to the bottom. A little bit of a late block there. The 69 of Dusty Burkhardt has to check up. This is going to put Dawson Wise in an even better position, and now just has to find a way to hold off the charge from this outside line as they're not going to give it up. One truck now going to spin out back. Couldn't tell exactly what it was. Hard hit it into the inside wall. But this race will be official. White flag is in the air. And we're going to race it all the way back to the checkered. Here we go. Dawson Wise down into turn number 1. Still no contest, but now Les Levy starting to get a big push from the outside line. Adam Kilday giving him the assist. Remember, Les still looking for his first win of the season as well. Final time down the Daytona Superstretch. Look at the pushing that Vicente Guerrero and Cody Nagels are giving to their teammate Dawson Wise right now. Third lane starting to form up. This is going to kill the momentum for the middle. Final time through 3 and 4. Does Adam Kilday have anything left for Les Levy? The 25 on the outside, Larry Dickerson, not going to have enough. No contest. Vicente Guerrero, he will stay tucked to the back bumper of his teammate. First win, and it comes at the best time possible. Dawson Wise wins it at Daytona. As they wreck behind, we got one upside down. It's Robert Morrison. Wild barrel rolls for the 43. Oh, my goodness. But Dawson Wise is your winner tonight at Talladega. 2 trucks and upside down. What a finish, though, for Dawson Wise. And you know what? We are going to see a triple truck burnout. I'm going to tell you, I can almost guess that right here. You know Cody and Vicente are pretty excited about it. And man, oh man. Let's go back here first and take a look at this finish before these guys come around here to burn it down. And taking a look at it. Here you go. You saw that third lane try to get going. Just ran out of time here. So Dawson Wise is able to bring it home. They start wrecking out back, and this is what catches your eye. So there's the win for Dawson Wise. Got it by a full truck length again. Vicente Guerrero, Cody Nagels looking great in points. So they just wanted to try to help their teammate out here tonight. But watch this hit for Robert Morrison after the checkers. Pins that truck upside down, and then he's going to go for quite a wild tumble here down the short chute as Mark Mann pile drives it in. And so as we go back live, these guys getting ready to burn it down. They're going to park it for a picture first. And see if we can get a better angle of these 3. And I'll tell you what, I like the look of that one right there. So here you go. Dawson Wise is your official winner at Daytona tonight. First win of the season. Vicente Guerrero brings home second. Cody Nagels in third with Les Levy in fourth. Dusty Burkhart back in fifth. Donald Sadusky in sixth. Robert Morrison in seventh. Len McNeese in eighth with Larry Dickerson in ninth. John Guerra rounding out your top 10. Ricky Wentworth finishes up in 11th. Adam Kilday in 12th. Mark Mann in 13th with David Overstreet finishing 14th. Bubba Winningham in 15th. Anthony Williams in 16th. Michael Triscaro back in 17th with Nick Biddy back in 18th. Rounding out your top 20 here tonight is going to be Alex Green and Joe Divide. Robert Jordan in 21st, Brian Kaufman 22nd, Rick Seabrands in 23rd, Tom Dixon back in 24th, Dean Viney 25th, Dana Osborne in 26th. It's going to be Alex Giffen finishing in 27th, and George Rincon, who of course did not start the race tonight, last place finisher. He rounds out the 28 truck field we had tonight. All right, we're going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews, where we will again talk to your winner, Dawson Wise. Stick with us. Back live here at Daytona International Speedway. Going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, Cody Nagels. Cody, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes.
All right. Well, you bring home a podium, but more importantly, you got to see one of your teammates get their first win of the season here tonight. Was that kind of game plan there coming down to the finish? How'd you guys go about holding everybody off?
Dawson needed the points, man. He's below the playoff cut right now. I think the idea is to get everyone in the top 15 because that last race, the 16th spot, is the LCQ, the highest finisher that's not a playoff driver. So the idea is all of us need to get in a comfortable spot. He needs the points worse than any of us. He has the track position. He gambles fuel. And I was able on the restart prior to get up to 6th. So it lined all 3 of us up. And I said, well, don't think, because he was thinking about playing blocker. And I said, no. You stay with your team, line up by 3. That makes us the toughest to beat. So there was talk about blocking the run when Les got there, and I told him, you better think better of it because they're going to split you. He stays bottom. We tandem down the back stretch, and we finish 1, 2, 3.
Certainly do. Well, a good run for you here tonight. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Want to thank you, Austin, for broadcasting NSRA, everything you do with Ghost Racing Network. Thank the NSRA admins, all the drivers that show out. I want to thank all my teammates at Limitless Esports, and I want to thank this ice cold Coors Light that I'm drinking.
All right. Hey, a good way to celebrate. We'll see you next week. Thanks for talking to us, Cody.
Thank you.
All right. Now that's going to lead us to your second place finisher here tonight, Vicente Guerrero. Vicente, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
All right, well, you bring home second. I heard you talking about a couple times last week. Seems like you always finish second. Happens again here tonight. How you feeling?
Good. I got my little one attacking me right now. I kind of used him to clean up a spill for his sweater. I used it for a spill cleanup, but other than that, I'm doing good.
Well, looking at the point situation, you knew what it was tonight. You're looking good in points. You stick behind the bumper of Dawson Wise coming to the checkered flag. Was that the plan from the restart?
Yeah, it was kind of stick with my teammates, and just hopefully we get a 1, 2, 3, and then we actually pulled that off.
Well, you were fun to watch all night. Before we let you head out, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
You, of course. NSRA for putting on this league. Can't wait to watch the broadcast and all my teammates in Discord today. It was fun racing with them.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Vicente, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
All right. Now that's going to lead us to your winner here tonight. Driving the number 98, Dawson Wise. Dawson, this is Austin up the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Austin, I got you.
All right. Well, first win of the season, but man, you had to fight hard for it there at the end. Stressful in terms of fuel from what we heard, and then we're thinking about whether or not you should block. How did you go about making all those decisions in the last 2 laps, and it all came together?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. When the caution came out and put us in the second green white checkered, I had about 3 laps of gas left, so I worked about 2 gallons for the last 2 laps of the race. And when it comes to blocking, I saw them coming with 2 to go, but I mean, I had to trust my teammates right there, and they got me up there. They were the only reason I was leading the race, so I had to stay down. They were telling me, we got you all the way home here, and I said, all right, we're gonna go, and whatever happens, happens, and that's the biggest part of it. And yeah, they got me home. This one feels good.
Well, now that you got your first win of the season, how are you going to use that momentum and carry it through the rest of the regular season for the next couple races?
Oh man, this is huge. I haven't had good points nights the last 3 or 4 weeks, so I needed to get back in the positives and get better in the playoff standings. So this one's huge. Takes a bit of the pressure of the first win off my back, and now I can kind of calm down and run with my teammates, be with my teammates, and we're going to be good the rest of the season. And I think it just boosts my confidence. Now I know I can do it, and I'm going to go do it a few more times.
All right, we certainly look confident here tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh, man. First off, thank you for doing the broadcast. You do a great job. Obviously, you could hear that on Tuesdays. I would not be here without my teammates, all of them tonight. Mike T, RJ, Robert Jordan, Robert Morrison, Cody, obviously, and Vince. Cody and Vince, man, I would not be where I am right now without those 2, especially Vince. Vince has got me 2 wins in the last month, and huge props to those 2. Man, I've learned so much from them, and I continue to learn more from them every time we race, and they make me better. Thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to a couple of people I had watching. I know DJ was watching that. He couldn't race with us. So shout out to them. Shout out to the guys in NSRA. It was a good race. Shout out to Davo and the boys up top that run this. This is awfully fun, and I'm glad I could finally get a win here.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on your first win of the season, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, man.
All right. That is going to wrap up our coverage here from Daytona International Speedway. The Mann Outdoors 200 saw a new winner tonight, and it came in the form of Dawson Wise in the 98. Appreciate everybody, as always, tuning out. I hope you all did enjoy. We'll be back next week at Legacy Daytona. Make sure you tune into that one. Until next time, though, have a good night.